Phil, the work health and safety laws that require that we've got a system in place that deals with emergency events in the event that something happened on farm. Can you tell us some of the key pointers, when developing an emergency procedure and what that should include? What are some of the key points that you think are essential to have in there?
Oh, look, I think the most important point is we never want to use it, Stu. We never want to have to get to that point.
Couldn't agree with you more.
But, the reality is things happen. So I guess probably the key part of that is that the employer needs to advise his workers in the event that something does go wrong, what do we do? How do we do it? What sort of things do we need to cover? And look, I know our farming safety guide's got a ripping card in there basically that can be used to create an information card specifically for emergency management.
Absolutely, page 45 and 46, take a look.
And look, I guess that particular document goes into more detail than what the suggestion I had earlier on about the little, the quick guide that's on the sunshade that you can flick down and says, this is what we do.
Absolutely. Well, I've taken a look at pages 45 and 46 also, and some of the key pointers for me are your obvious contacts like your Tas Police and Tas Ambulance, Tas Networks, there's one, Phil, Tas Fire, WorkSafe Tasmania.
Oh, and Stu, the business's details too, what the business requires, what the farm requires for you to do in the event of an emergency.
Absolutely, and when putting something like this together, also once again have that safety farm conversation with your workers. Include them. Other key aspects of it. You might decide to put in with that emergency response plan UHF channel, VHF channel, particularly in the event that mobile coverage is poor on farm. Include GPS coordinates on farm, perhaps, where the actual farm sits. Go out the front and have a look at the Tas Networks pole number, because a lot of our farms, Phil, they don't actually have numbers associated up on the front gate, do they?
No.
So, when ringing, for example, Tas Ambulance, that'll give them some reference in the event where to come.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Something else too, outside emergency management plans for consideration is don't forget the importance also of putting a COVID-19 emergency response plan in place. I mean, years ago, who would have thought we wouldn't have had to have worried about considering about putting something like that in place?
No. And look, the government requires every business to have a COVID plan in place.
Correct.
And, again, with safe farming and the resources that we're creating, and I guess more specifically the work you're doing.
Absolutely.
In that COVID space, we've got those resources there, and they're very easily used and usable.
Yeah.
And the checklist you've developed. For COVID-19 are a fantastic resource, and they'll give us a bit of a snapshot on what we need to do in that space.
Yeah, and that resource is available, all that information via the USB that Phil just showed you some minutes ago.